Imagine for a moment that you are standing on the edge of the timeless Nile. The heat of the Egyptian day is beginning to fade, replaced by a gentle breeze that carries the scent of river clay and distant jasmine. You close your eyes, listening to the ancient rhythm of the water lapping against the shore. When you open them, you see a silhouette that has defined this landscape for thousands of years. It is not a pharaoh in gold, nor a modern tourist in shorts. It is a man moving with a slow, dignified grace, wrapped in a garment that seems to flow like water itself. He walks, and the fabric ripples around him, commanding space, yet surrendering to the wind. It is a single piece of cloth that manages to bridge the gap between kings and farmers, between the sacred and the ordinary. This is not just clothing, it is a sanctuary. It is a mobile home for the body in a harsh desert climate. When you see this garment, you are looking at a design so perfect, so elementally attuned to its environment, that history simply refused to change it. It evokes a sense of mystery, doesn't it? In a world obsessed with fast fashion, zippers, and tight fits, why has this simple, floor-length robe survived the rise and fall of empires? What secrets does it hide within its deep pockets and wide sleeves? Today, we are not just looking at fabric, we are stepping into the soul of Egypt. We are going to wear the history, feel the comfort, and understand the profound dignity of the Galabeya. Welcome to Culture Journey. Let's embark on this discovery together. To understand the Galabeya is to understand the heartbeat of the Nile Valley. At its simplest definition, the Galabeya is a loose-fitting, ankle-length robe without a collar, traditionally worn by men and women in Egypt and the Sudanic region. But definitions are cold, and this garment is full of warmth. While modern Western clothing, the suit, the jeans, the t-shirt, dominates the corporate high-rises of Cairo and Alexandria, the Galabeya remains the undisputed king of the countryside, the reef, and the proud Upper Egypt region known as the Seed. It is the uniform of the earth. Whether it is woven from fine, breathable cotton to survive the scorching heat of Luxor, or heavier wool to endure the desert chill at night, the Galabeya is a triumph of function over form. But why does it matter so much? Why is it that, when an Egyptian man wants to feel truly at home, truly himself, he sheds his trousers and buttons and slips into this robe? It is because the Galabeya represents a connection to the land and a rejection of the frantic pace of modern life. It symbolizes sutra, a concept of modesty, protection, and dignity. It hides the poverty or wealth of the wearer, casting everyone in a similar, noble silhouette. In this episode, we are going to travel from the bustling markets of Khan el-Khalili to the silent fields of Aswan. We will explore how this garment dictates body language, keeps a culture cool in a warming world, and why, once you put one on, you might never want to take it off. Let us start by looking back. If you walk through the hallowed halls of the Egyptian Museum, or gaze at the carvings on the walls of the Karnak Temple, you will see it. The ancient ancestors of modern Egyptians wore the calasiris, a linen sheath that is the great-grandfather of today's Galabeya. For 5,000 years, the basic principle has remained unchanged: the body must breathe. In the blistering heat of the Sahara, wearing tight clothes is an act of war against your own biology. The Galabeya acts as a chimney. As the wearer walks, the movement creates a bellows effect. Cool air is drawn in from the bottom hem, circulates around the legs and torso, and rises out through the wide neck opening. It is, quite literally, air conditioning made of cotton. It allows the air to flow between the fabric and the skin, keeping the body temperature stable. Have you ever wondered why desert dwellers cover their entire bodies rather than stripping down? It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? But the Galabeya protects the skin from the direct assault of the sun, while trapping a layer of cooler air against the body. It is a masterpiece of thermal engineering that no synthetic fabric has ever managed to beat. Now, we must distinguish between the styles, for to the untrained eye, they all look the same. But to an Egyptian, the cut of your Galabeya tells your entire life story. First, we have the Baladi style. This is the everyday workhorse of the Nile Delta farmers. It is practical, cut comfortably but not excessively wide. It is often made of lighter, patterned fabrics, sometimes with vertical stripes to elongate the figure. You will see this rolled up at the knees when a farmer is irrigating his fields or fishing in the canals. But then we travel south to Upper Egypt, to the land of the Said. Here, the Galabeya transforms into something majestic. The Saidi Galabeya is the power suit of the south. It is characterized by its massive width. A proper Saidi Galabeya uses meters and meters of extra fabric. The sleeves are wide and expansive, and the bottom hem is so full that it creates a dramatic swirl when the wearer turns. The colors here are serious: steely grays, deep navy blues, earthy browns, or pristine whites for Friday prayers. There is a weight to it. When a Saidi man walks, he does not rush. The garment demands a slow, rhythmic gait. It demands respect. Often it is worn with a chiftan underneath, and sometimes a heavy wool coat called a abaya or jibba over the top during winter. While the Saidi and Baladi dominate the river valley, we must also touch upon the Bedouin variations found in the Sinai Peninsula and the Western Desert. Here, the Galabeya adapts again. It is often shorter, allowing for easier movement over rocky terrain, and is almost always worn with a shema or headscarf. The Bedouin Galabeya is often white to reflect the harsh sun of the open dunes. For the Bedouin, the robe is also a sleeping bag. By curling the legs up inside the vast interior of the garment and wrapping the headscarf around the face, a man can sleep on the open sand, protected from the biting wind and the insects. It is the ultimate survival gear tested over millennia of nomadic life. But these styles are nothing without the hands that create them. Let us pause to appreciate the craft. In the winding alleys of historic Cairo, specifically in the area of Al-Azhar, you can still find the traditional tailors. These are small shops, piled high with bolts of fabric, poplin, cashmere wool, and the finest Giza cotton. The making of a bespoke Galabeya is an art form. Unlike mass-produced clothing, there are no standard sizes like small, medium, or large. There is only your size. The tailor measures the neck, the drop of the shoulder, and, crucially, the stride. A Galabeya that is too narrow at the bottom will tear when you sit or ride a donkey. One that is too wide will drag in the mud. It must be perfect. The stitching itself is a language. On a high-quality Saidi Galabeya, look at the neckline. You will see intricate stitching called kafaf. This reinforcement ensures the neckline stands up and doesn't sag, giving the wearer that regal, upright appearance. The buttons are often handmade knots of fabric, not plastic discs. This organic construction means that eventually the garment returns to the earth from which it came, leaving no waste behind. If you were standing in a tailor shop in Luxor right now, looking at these fabrics, which one would you choose? Would you go for the practical striped Baladi cotton? Or would you dare to wear the heavy, sweeping dignity of the Saidi style? Let us know in the comments below. The Galabeya is not just worn, it is inhabited. It changes how a man sits. You will often see men in the traditional coffee shops, the ahwas, sitting with one leg crossed high over the other, the fabric draping effortlessly to cover them. This posture is impossible in skinny jeans. It allows for total relaxation. Let's talk about the pockets. Oh, the pockets. A traditional Galabeya has openings on the side that allow you to reach the pockets of the trousers worn underneath, called sirwal, but it also has its own deep pockets. It is said that an Egyptian grandfather can produce anything from these pockets. A bag of sweets for his grandchildren, a rosary, a handkerchief, or a sheaf of important papers. It is a bottomless pit of utility. There is also a fascinating fun fact about the sleeves. In the past, and still in some rural areas, the wide sleeves of the Galabeya served as a storage space. Men would tie coins or small items into the corner of the sleeve. It was a purse, a handkerchief, and a fan, all built into the architecture of the shirt. Did you know that the Galabeya is also the ultimate equalizer? When men line up for prayer in the mosque, standing shoulder to shoulder, the Galabeya hides the brand of their watch or the quality of their belt. Whether you are a millionaire landowner or a humble farmhand, under the white Galabeya of Friday prayer, you are simply a human being. The fabric erases the ego. Speaking of authenticity, here is a fun detail for travelers. How do you spot a tourist in a Galabeya versus a local? It is usually in the bling. Tourist markets sell Galabeyas that are covered in gold coins, shiny sequins, and loud neon pharaonic prints. While fun, these are considered costumes by locals, not serious clothing. A local's Galabeya is understated. It whispers wealth. It does not scream it. The quality is seen in the drape of the wool, the subtle sheen of the cotton, and the cleanliness of the hem. An Egyptian man takes immense pride in a freshly ironed Galabeya. To walk out in a wrinkled robe is a sign of chaos in one's life. The crispness of the fabric is a sign of order and self-respect. We must not forget the women. While men's Galabeyas tend toward the monochromatic and the public sphere, the women's Galabeya, often called Jalabeya in local dialect, is an explosion of domestic art. Inside the home, or in the rural villages, women wear Galabeyas that are vibrantly colored, often embroidered with intricate patterns around the neckline and cuffs. These garments are designed for the realities of life. They are loose enough for housework, for carrying children, for baking bread in clay ovens, yet they are tailored to be beautiful. In recent years, the tourist Galabeya has become a massive industry. Visitors flock to markets to buy heavily embroidered, sequined versions to wear as beach cover-ups or loungewear. But the authentic version, worn by an Egyptian matriarch, is simpler, heavier, and built to last a lifetime. Today, the Galabeya faces a battle. In the glittering malls of New Cairo, young men often view the Galabeya as something old-fashioned, something for their grandfathers, or for the uneducated rural class. The suit and the t-shirt have become symbols of modernity and professionalism. You will rarely see a bank manager or a tech CEO wearing a Galabeya to the office. However, the story does not end there. A strange phenomenon occurs when these same modern men return home. The moment they walk through their front door, the suit comes off, and the Galabeya goes on. It remains the official uniform of home. It is the garment of the weekend, of Ramadan evenings, of family gatherings. It has transitioned from public workwear to private luxury. Furthermore, high-end fashion designers in Egypt are now reimagining the Galabeya. They are using linen and silk, creating modern cuts that pay homage to the tradition while appealing to the contemporary eye. The garment is refusing to die. It is evolving. It is finding new ways to exist in a world of smartphones and electric cars. It is fascinating to think about how our clothes shape our behavior. Do you have an outfit that instantly makes you feel at home the moment you put it on? Is it a pair of sweatpants, a robe, or perhaps something traditional from your own culture? Share your comfort clothes stories with us. The Galabeya also serves as a distinct marker of occasion. There is the sleeping Galabeya, usually striped and made of soft flannel. There is the receiving guests Galabeya, crisp and ironed. And there is the funeral Galabeya, inevitably black or dark blue, signifying shared sorrow. It is a wardrobe that covers every emotion a human can experience, from the intimacy of sleep to the solemnity of death. Before we end our journey, close your eyes one last time and listen. There is a specific sound, a swish, that a heavy Galabeya makes when a man walks briskly. It is a rhythmic, comforting sound, familiar to anyone who has grown up in an Egyptian household. It signals the arrival of a father or a grandfather. And then there is the gesture, the hiking up. When a man needs to run, squat, or perform manual labor, he grabs the hem of the Galabeya with his teeth or tucks it into his waistband, transforming the long robe into a pair of makeshift shorts. This transformation from dignified elder to man of action happens in a split second. It is a gesture of readiness, a signal that work is about to be done. It is the sound and sight of a culture that is always ready to move. As the sun dips below the horizon and the desert air turns cool, the Galabeya transforms once again. It becomes a blanket, a shield against the chill. We have traveled through the history of this garment, from the linen of the Pharaohs to the cotton of the modern farmer. We have seen how it is an engineering marvel, a social leveler, and a symbol of profound identity. To wear a Galabeya is to step into a rhythm of life that is slower, more intentional, and deeply connected to the earth. It is a reminder that sometimes the old ways are not just old, they are solutions that we have forgotten. In a world that constantly demands we show more skin, more status, more body shape, the Galabeya quietly asks us to show less, and in doing so, perhaps reveal more of who we truly are. It teaches us that dignity does not come from a price tag or a designer label. Dignity comes from how you carry yourself and how comfortable you are in your own skin and in your own fabric. As the Egyptian proverb goes, "He who has no past has no future." The Galabeya is that past, wrapped warmly around the present, walking steadily into the future. Every fold of cloth holds a grain of sand, a drop of Nile water, and a story of survival. Every culture is a mirror reflecting the human soul, and that journey of discovery, perhaps, never truly ends. Thank you for walking the banks of the Nile with us today. We hope you could almost feel the soft cotton and the warm breeze through the screen. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the wardrobe of Egypt, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps our channel travel further. We want to hear from you. What represents the soul of your culture's clothing? Is it the kimono, the kilt, the aodai, or the sari? Leave a comment below telling us which traditional garment we should explore next. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Here at Culture Journey, the world is vast, and there are so many more stories to wear, taste, and experience. Until the next adventure, stay curious and keep exploring. Goodbye for now.